Hi ladies, Lana is here. It's Tuesday, May 23rd, 11 a.m. California time, Pacific time, and what is this, 2 p.m.? 2 p.m. Eastern time and 7 p.m. British time. So welcome. I'm so excited to be here live with you today, and whoever joins us today, just say hi. I will say hi to you. I'll be happy to see you all. And beforehand, before I start, our topic today is how to overcome fears and doubts, and it relates to different parts of our life, not just relationship, but we also focus on relationships specifically as well. So beforehand, before I start, I would love to acknowledge the pain that we experience now, what happened yesterday in England and Manchester. And when I found out about it, it just makes my heart sink. And I always feel, when I read this kind of news, I always feel helpless, and I always feel, like kind of losing hope and feeling this pain. Many of us women, we're empaths, so we feel other people's pain like our own, and we can feel the collective as well on the collective level. So it's challenging to receive this kind of news and know that it's still happening, the violence, and innocent people die, children die. This is just, it breaks my heart, and I'm sure you feel the same way. So I just wanted to acknowledge this pain and just create an intention that whatever we do in our life, we build the opposite. We build foundation for love and trust, and we build foundation for our awareness and spiritual power. So we are counterbalancing this fear-based system and all these violent acts. And being in this time of our evolution, it's actually, it just, my mind can go around it, like, wow, we're still doing this, like it's still happening. It's just mind-blowing for me. But still, we have to acknowledge it's there, and we have to just stand up, find our power, find courage, and move forward and do our best, do our inner work, and support each other, and grow in our spiritual power and awareness and love together. So we're creating the alternative, this fear-based civilization, right? So this is our, especially for us women, this is our purpose. This is who we are. We're intuitive, we are creative, we serve life, we create life. So this is something that we can do, we can change. And as I mentioned in the previous post, hi, somebody showed up. Welcome. I will see, the Facebook notifies me when, in a few moments, who's showing up. So I will say hi as soon as I see the name. So as I mentioned in my previous post yesterday, that it's the time that symbolizes, the archetype is the return of the Great Mother, and this is when the feminine becomes powerful again and starts to grow and expand, and because it becomes so powerful that it actually transforms the world. And this is what we're doing collectively together. And we start, of course, we always start from within. So this topic is perfect today. I wanted to mention that I will always have a candle when I have a master classes or when I have coaching sessions with my clients. It cleans the space, and it creates this sacredness, like altar, opening up to this divine wisdom that we can channel from above, from our higher selves, from the source, from the great mystery, whatever you call it. So I always love to bring it in. So it's not just me who trying to contemplate on this huge, challenges, huge topics, a worldly thing. It's my connection with the divine, my connection with the source, and I'm just cleaning my channel to receive the wisdom. So, all right, so whoever jumps in, I will say hi, and let me just start. And oh, Eva, hey, my love, I'm so happy to see you. So, let me share what I'm going to cover today, because time is going quickly, and usually it takes me at least an hour to go through the masterclass. I will try to make it more dense and more like to the point, so whoever watches it in replay can actually feel that it's a huge value from this time together. So we'll start with identifying what is fear. What is fear? Well, we talk about it all the time, but let's take a look in the roots of the origins. What is it, And the topic is overcoming fears and doubts. So I would not cover doubt separately, because I see doubt as a product, as a secondary product of the fear. And from my perspective, my vision is a doubt is a fear to fail. We doubt ourselves whenever we're afraid to do something, so we don't fail, right? Hey guys, I don't see the names of everybody who's joining. Oh, hi, live a little music trainer. Thank you, my love. Thank you for being here. So, the doubts, Olga, oh wow, Olga, I'm so excited to see you. She's from Saudi Arabia. Where are you now? In somewhere in Saudi Arabia. Okay, you guys can say hi, and you can say where you are in the world, because it's so exciting that technology now allows us to connect. And this, like time and space, everybody has different time, but we can see each other, through the live stream, and we can connect, and we can talk, and really discuss big things here. So yes, I see doubt as a product of our fear. So doubt is a fear to fail, right? And many like emotions, negative emotions, are connected with fears. So fear is like something fundamental, something that we can always find everywhere in our life. And it's not about, like fighting the fear. We're not gonna fight it, or like, hi, Leona, darling, from Scotland. Welcome, so nice to see you. We're not gonna fight fears. We're gonna face them, acknowledge them, find their origins, and then the only way is to deal with them is to outgrow them, so to become bigger than our fears. And I will go there today and share my vision of how I do this and how I teach my clients to do that. So that's what we're going to cover. Then we specifically will focus on fears, why we have fear to be a woman. It's still scary for many women. Many women work with report that they feel fear to be a woman, to step in their like feminine, to explore their femininity. It is still scary. Why? Because the system is still patriarchal. And I love to say that, because it looks like we got all the rights and freedom these days, women, and we have great careers and businesses, so it's much better than before. But what happens, we just adjusted to the system, to patriarchal system. We didn't change it. We just became really good. We became as good as men in their like masculine power, right? And we adjusted to this system, which is like based on rational, based on judgment, by all the masculine structures, logical, linear, perception, right and wrong, like forcing things, getting things, it's all based on, the whole system is based on patriarchal values, patriarchal energies, and we didn't bring the feminine back yet. So the intuitive feeling, emotion, creativity, like art, everything is connected, irrational, right? This is like the feminine qualities that we can bring back: compassion, love, serving life. This is what feminine brings. And it is the time when it's coming back. It is the return of the Great Mother, but we're still in the beginning of this era, and this is up to us how we can uncover this process and how we can bring balance back to the system, right? And I always go there because my background also not just psychology but also sociology, so I see individual process always connected with collective, and whatever we do within us, we also give it back to the world, right? We're changing the world by doing our inner work beforehand. So I love to say that as well always. So we will discover why is it so scary still for us to be women. Why is it we're afraid to explore feminine side, right? Because there is so much judgment about it in the system still, right? Like there is more trust to logic than to intuition. There's more trust to like thought and mind than versus like heart, like and soul and feeling. So this is what we need to bring back and to balance the whole system, because we're extremely unbalanced still. And violence, this is the product of this unbalanced patriarchal system. So I will offer some questions for you guys, and it's really beneficial for all of us to contemplate and look deep inside and see what is there that we're afraid of, what is so scary about being a woman. So we want to bring it back, we want to unfold it, see and empower ourselves, right? So then I will mention a little bit about shadow work. Eva is saying, yes, it is time to engage the feminine energy into our lives more daily and find better balance with the masculine energy. Yes, totally. And this is so obvious to me, and I talk about it all the time because it just so obvious. There is this great documentary called The Pyramid Code, which they talk about ancient Egypt, when there was an era when there was both energies were balanced. So there was a masculine and feminine. And if you look at these statues, artwork of the ancient Egypt of certain period of time, you can see, hey Alicia, or hey Jade, nice to see you guys, so excited. So you can see that both masculine and feminine is represented, and they're both are powerful. And sometimes you can see even that feminine is even more powerful, because when we have intuitive thoughts, intuitive wisdom is so much stronger, because it doesn't come just from the mind. Mind is limited. Mind is a machine, right? That has limited capacities. But when we open up to receive like intuitive knowledge, this is when we connect with infinite and unlimited and eternal wisdom, right? This is direct connection to the source, and this is the feminine. This is the feminine power. So this is what I mean by bringing it back. We need to bring it back and balance our own life, individual lives, our relationships, and also on the collective level, our societies. We'll see when we all step into this feminine power, we'll see how we can change the society as well at some point. So I will also mention the shadow work that I offer in my program and one-on-one coaching. And this is one of my favorite topics, because without doing that shadow work, without digging into our fears and discovering where they come from, why we feel this way, we can't really move forward, right? Yes, yes, feminine power is strong. Yeah, I can feel it, and I can feel it in the communities of women, how strong we are, how powerful. And it's like, and what I find is actually men are intimidated by feminine power, because it's a kind of a threat for the system, and that's why feminine was always suppressed. Feminine was like prohibited, like the feminine was... because of the physical part, like originally the physical strength of the masculine was actually suppressing and controlling the feminine. Yes, we're strong and powerful. To shut it down, because it was intimidating for the masculine structures, because feminine has direct connection to the source. It's intuitive, and it's unlimited. So it is kind of intimidating, and it can break the walls, you know, like water. Like the water is a kind of, for me, like I see water, it represents feminine energy, like how it can break the rocks, right? And this is what I believe energetically, the masculine structures which are closed and not open to grow and expand and like you merge in the balance with feminine, they're afraid of that, and it's kind of like defense mechanism around that closed system, because feminine wants to open it. We're open. So I'll cover that a little bit, and then I will share with you my practices of how I overcome my own fears, and I will share with you certain exercises and ideas of how to work with that energy, okay? And whenever you have questions, you're welcome to jump in and type it there, and I will answer them right away. So, okay, let's start. And yes, what I wanted to mention before, statistically, those ones who like statistics, 80% of people usually live their life by running away from their fears. Isn't it crazy? So every decision, or most of the decisions people make, this type of people, there are like two psychological types. So 80% of the population live their life trying to run away from what they don't want, from what they're afraid of. So they're constantly focusing on negative side. They're constantly focusing on fear and how to run away from it, right? Only 20%, yeah, it is crazy, yes. Only 20% of people move towards what they truly desire and move towards something positive, what they really want, towards like expansion, towards like personal growth, you know, discovery. Only 20%. So that's kind of a little bit scary, because by running away of our fears, we don't go anywhere. You know, we can't run away from our fears, because the fears are inside of us. We can move to a different town, we can move to a different country, you know, we can change our hairstyle, you know, we can change how we look, but we can't run away from our fears. This is not the way to deal with this, right? So I really invite you to look there and see and face your fears. You have to face your fears, acknowledge them instead of running away, denying them. And this is the start point of this work. This is how we can get our power back. Otherwise, we can't even see what is blocking our way to get our power back. So that is very important, to discover the origins of your fear, to face it. So now let's focus on what is fear. What is fear? Why it's so important to understand what does it mean, right? Well, originally, fear was a very useful survival mechanism, and like for cavemen, for people like living in the tribe, that was a very useful survival mechanism and had more positive traits than negative, right? It was an alert system in our body and psyche to warn and prevent a potential danger, right? If something threatens our life, so we can run away, so we can do something about it. So it was a good thing. Now, when the society evolved, changed, and the social system became more complicated, so there was more like political games, different social games. So it has changed. The quality of fear has changed. So besides that first original instinctive fear of connected with survival, connected to our first chakra, right? It became much more complicated and kind of like distorted, right? So the fears we have now in the society, they're not necessarily connected with our pure survival, right? There are, of course, situations like that as well, but most of our fears in everyday life, they're not connected with our physical survival. They're different. They might be connected with our social survival. So it's more about creating an image of yourself, of how you want to look, how you want to live your life, what feels safe, not in terms of just physical safety, but in terms of like keeping up with certain social standards, economic standards that we create for ourselves and what we absorb from the values of the society. So you know, the fear to lose your social status, economic status, is as big or sometimes even bigger than the fear of physical survival, you know. Like, I've been skydiving, so all these people were skydivers, but at the same time, there were some even bigger fears for them than just survive. So we kind of were risking our life, right? And I know by myself, some of my fears are bigger than my physical survival, you know? And we'll talk more about it. So fear, every fear has two sides, negative and positive. The positive side of the fear is actually serves us, and we don't want to get rid of it. So it's an alert system warning us about potential danger. And the second type of fear is the product of the society. It's connected with our values, connected with our beliefs and our self-image and the judgment from the outside world, right? So that fear can actually be damaging, and it can prevent us from growing, and it can slow down our evolution, and it can slow down our unfolding and living our life purpose, because we're afraid to do something. It feels scary. For example, like fear of public speech, very simple example, right? Instead of like running away from this fear, which works in like a more primitive societies when it's a physical danger, right? We don't want to do that because it prevents us from trying something again, from stepping on our power in certain areas of our life that we don't feel confident enough. And it usually comes from our childhood, like some situations in our childhood when our parents maybe made some comments about us, or they punished us for something, we were too loud, or like there's so much material in our childhood that affects and creates this fear fields within our body, within our psyche. So instead of running away from that kind of fear, it is important to face it, understand it, and to go through it, to challenge this fear. And what I invite my clients to do, and what I do myself, I face that fear and I go through it, and I see it as a challenge of my growth, right? If I'm afraid of public speech, like for example, now I'm like broadcasting to the whole world, whoever like joins, and whatever people watch me on the replay. At the beginning, I kind of was overwhelming for me. I'd never done this kind of thing before, speaking on the stage, like it's kind of scary, right? But if you don't do it, you stay in the shade, and nobody will know that you exist, right? But I do have a message, so I overcome my fears to go live and share my message with you, right? So this kind of fear is actually has negative effect on us, and we want to face it and overcome it or outgrow it, right? So that's what I wanted to share about the origins and the nature of fear. Now let's move to the fear of being a woman. This is very powerful question, and it's not very common, to hear this question. It is coming up now. I can hear this message even on Facebook, like women step into their power and they share this message. Why is it so scary to be a woman? And I already shared that it's based on our social values and the patriarchal system. Historically, it is always was scary to be a woman. So I would like you to contemplate and to ask yourself a question. So what is it scary for you to be a woman, like completely like embracing your femininity, completely embracing your feminine power without kind of like playing the masculine game? You go ahead and make some comments and share what is it for you. Why is it scary for you to be a woman? It is on the feeling level, so it's not rational. Just check in with your body. You can close your eyes, take in several deep breaths, and just ask yourself, is it scary to be a woman? and receive the answer. What is it all about? It might be connected with your childhood situations that you had in your childhood, maybe connected with your mother's story, maybe some ancestral stories, maybe some stories that you heard, seen in the society, movies, whatever, you know. So why is it scary to be a woman? Why is it scary to explore feminine power and do it in a feminine way, you know? Bringing your intuition in the center, your feelings, your emotions, instead of like just rational thought, like proof. This is what I funny about the masculine. It's like, we need proof for everything. You have to prove that you're right. Like, I don't need to prove anything. I just am. And that is feminine. Feminine just exists, you know, it just is. You don't need to prove anything. You feel, you know, you feel right, what is right for you in the moment, and this is how you navigate the place. So it gives the opportunity to experience all colors of rainbow in the universe. It's not just black and white, right and wrong, right? So that's one of the reasons why feminine is scary, because it gives an opportunity to explore infinity and unlimited amount of possibilities. Oh, hey. Hey, mama. This is my spiritual mama. Cats, welcome. We have a very interesting topic, and I'm sure this is, like, I can see it in you. You're like my role model for like empowered feminine. Beautiful empowered feminine. So I want to acknowledge you now. And welcome. So we're contemplating on the question, why is it scary to be a woman? On the feeling, on the level of feeling, why is it scary to be in our feminine, living this life in everyday life? And we're just going within and asking ourselves this question. And you're welcome to make some comments. I would love to hear from you and connect with you that way. So go ahead and ask if you have, or if you have questions that you want me to cover, you're welcome to ask as well. So connected, this question is actually connected with our fears that we have in relationship. In relationship, many times it's also scary to go into feminine, because in our everyday life we live in our masculine, right? We go to the college, you know, get our education, get jobs. We function on our mind level most of the time in the society. We function on the logical, rational way, and we got used to whatever we need to do. We need to prove that we're good enough. We need to prove that we are right. We need to prove we are better than others, like competition, you know, applying for jobs, getting, you know, renting an apartment or like a house. You have to prove that you're good. You know, it's all about proof. You know, it's about competition. It's about right and wrong, about judgment. But then when it comes to relationship with a man, this is when all the problems come up, because we can't have relationship with a man who is in his in his masculine power if we are not in our feminine power, right? It's gonna be like two dudes relationships. So in relationship, this is the most this problem comes sharper and sharper, right? When we're like a relationship and we're being a man and we have a partner who's a man, it's gonna create lots of mess and lots of fighting. So it's like always like this, because we bring it from our everyday life and we don't know anything else, and nobody was teaching us how to be in feminine power, how to be in a relationship with empowered masculine. So it messes everything, you know, it's mess. So my questions now for relationship: what kind of fears you have in terms of your relationship with men? Whatever comes up first. And again, you know, to check in with yourself. You don't go to your mind and start to analyze. You can close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and ask your body, you know, where do you feel tension when you speak about relationship fears? What comes up first? And just trust that first impulse, whatever comes up. You're welcome to share, or you're welcome to just do this exercise on your own, and you can always connect with me, private message on in the group. So I can give you an example of my own fears in relationship, because I was totally in my masculine. I felt I was kind of like, I didn't like to be feminine. It was, in my country, it was still kind of traditional, more traditional society, so women are more kind of submissive in relationship with men. You know, they do have businesses and they do have good jobs. Because Soviet Union, everybody was kind of equal, but at the same time it was like double standard system. So in the relationship, woman was like a housewife who has to clean the house, cook, you know, take care of the children, and there was so many responsibility, and like taking care of a man, you know, cooking for the man, you know, pleasing a man is like, I don't want to do that. So when I was very young, starting from teenage age, and then my early years, I kind of was in a denial. I don't want to be a woman. I feel better to be a man. You know, it's cool to be a man. I'm free. I can do it if I want. I like activities. I like the outdoor activities. I like, you know, some risks. You know, like going down do adventure sports. And it's cool to hang with men because they, you know, they travel, they have fun, and like women sit at home and cooks. No, thank you. So I kind of was rebelling. And I had fun, and my life was amazing, except that I couldn't really build any kind of relationship with men, because it was like man-to-man relationships. So I had lots of like resistance and lots of fighting, you know, and it didn't last. So my fear was about relationship was that I can't find an equal man for myself. I can't be in equal partnership. I can't. He doesn't even exist, you know, and because I'm so free and so independent, I can't stay in committed relationship, because then I will have too many responsibility, obligations, and it will not resonate with my heart, so I will not be happy. So I was like kind of moving from one relationship to another, and that at the end it didn't feel good, you know. It was not fulfilling. Another side of this fear, if you like, some women share with me that it's a fear to be alone, to stay single to the end of their life, not to have any relationship, not to have family. So many women just give in and try to please men, or like impress men, and like keep men around, even if they completely violate their boundaries and completely disrespect them. They still believe this is how it is, and nothing, and then anything else is not like a better thing is not available. A better relationship is not available. So if we're independent and free and own ourselves, we can be in a relationship. So many women give in and allow men to violate their boundaries in awful ways, just to kind of explore the relationship and not to be alone. This is another like extreme many women go, and this is what how I work with women privately and one-on-one coaching, is to actually gaining clarity. What is this fear about, where it comes from, and how to set up the right boundaries, how to set up the right agreements at the very beginning of the relationship, and, you know, honor yourself beforehand. Because, you know, I'd better be single than allow somebody to take advantage of me or violate my boundaries and be unhappy in the relationship, right? Totally the wrong reason to stay in a relationship. So I fear of being alone when there are millions of men around. Yes, Eva, you nailed it. Yes. So and this is so common, and this is so big, and so many women live in fear that they can't find themselves in this relationship. Hey Andrea, welcome. I'm so glad to see you. Welcome, sister. So that's huge. So I actually wrote down a few fear-based stories about relationship that I hear all the time from women. And I can just share a few with them, and let me know which one resonates with you the most, because it's kind of covers it all. And they all come from from fears, from our fears, deep fears, being alone, being abandoned, or another side is fear of our own commitment, our own fear of commitment, our own fear of intimacy, our fear to be seen in this of who we are, in our feminine, right? So here's the fear-based stories that I hear all the time about relationships. It's I'm not good enough for a man of my dreams. He's too good for me, so maybe I'm not worthy, or not yet. Brenda Lise, welcome. So nice to see you. I'm afraid I will never meet the right man, so I need to get someone who is okay. So being in an okay relationship, kind of playing it safe. I always attract wrong guys, so I start to believe that there is something wrong with me. So I see it all the time. Women blame themselves, that something is wrong with them, so they have all these wrong relationships. Another one. If I don't choose a husband soon, I will never have a family. So this is like a baby call. Like some people, women really want to have a family, really want to have kids, and this is totally valid, a totally powerful desire, right? But then if they don't have the right person, it's kind of like can be really intimidating, and it challenges our like basic instincts that we'll stay alone and will not have a family, will not have kids, you know, it's gonna be too late. So it's like giving in, okay, let's find some kind of man and just have some kind of relationship. This is very common as well. Now, all my friends find the right man and get married, but not me. I feel I miss out on something. This is also like happens to all the time. I felt this way the same myself. I don't know I'm not, something is weird about me that I can't be in relationships. Now, I'm not sure I can stay in a relationship with the same guy. I'm long enough. All my relationship didn't last. So this comes from the fear of commitment and fear of intimacy, fear to be too close to somebody, right? To spend too much time with somebody, so they will see you at the end of who you are, you will see them. That creates lots of anxiety and fears because of maybe some past traumas, because of maybe their toxic model of the family that we grow up, right? So we don't want that. And it's kind of like push and pull energy. We want to have a family, we want to have a relationship, but we're afraid to go deep and experience this connection that can be overwhelming and scary, and can cost our freedom or something like that. Now, I'm not sure it is possible to be in love with the same man for my entire life, but I really want it. So many women report they will never even fall in love in a true way, like you read books and you watch movies. So some women never experience that. They were never loved by somebody in this powerful way, right? Unconditional, beyond our social roles, beyond our like image and masks that we're wearing. Now, some women lose hope that the right man for them exists, and that I was one of them. I don't trust men at all. They are not reliable. I hardly had a positive experience with men. This is also happens a lot when we allow them to violate our boundaries. So it's basically, ladies, it's our responsibility. Nobody can hurt us on a very profound level if we don't allow them. This is this one we give in. This is we give in our power. And usually there are so many red flags in a relationship when something's about to happen. So we kind of like close our eyes and don't want to see the truth. But then we receive some awful experience that actually can be really traumatic. So paying attention of how we feel in a relationship is extremely important, and acting on it in alignment with your truth and with honoring yourself. So that's basically the fear-based stories that I hear all the time, and at the end they all come from the place where we have this unhealed past between men and women, right? All these generational wounds of how much we were abused as women during human history, right? Oh, Eva agreed, is our response often we will open. Yes, totally. And this is, I think, their life-changing thing to learn of how not to allow that. This is life-changing thing. And this is why, like, this relationship coaching can be so transformational, because you just transform yourself and you start to live from a different place. You start to live from who you are and like putting yourself first in terms of like the entity, a being, a spiritual being as well, not just like physical, and honoring yourself and living with in alignment with this truth. And feminine will, when we step in our feminine, it will give us more and more information, more and more energy to understand how relationship work and how we should act in our relationship to balance and to have healthy relationship and grow together. So okay, I can go for on and on. So basically, yes, this very deep fears, and fears like there are two extremes, right? Fear of intimacy, commitment, and fear to be alone, to be single, fear of abandonment, of betrayal, fear to be judged. There's so much pressure also in the society for single women. If they're single, like there can be something wrong with them, yeah, right? Like it's like also like stereotype. Yes, transform yourself first and stop allowing people to use you or abuse your feelings. Surround yourself with kind, loving, generous women. Yes, that's the foundation. Also, surrounding yourself, and I will talk about this as well. Surrounding yourself with high vibrational people and people who understand who you are and could see who you are beyond all this, superficial roles and identities that we like take in and think this is who we are. No, this is much deeper, and I will go there right now. So it's important to see what's behind our fears and where they come from. So like I offer inner child work, and this is so powerful to discover where the first time we experienced this fear, where it was when it was born, but also it's connected with collective field in our history and a generational wound that lives within our DNA that needs to be healed. And this is another dimension of work. Many times, like I hear that people say, okay, the coaches and all these healers, they say, okay, the negative emotions and fears, they come from our thoughts. Like when we start thinking bad thoughts, negative thoughts, fearful thoughts, this is when they start to experience negative emotions. And that's completely true. It happens all the time because, also we're affected by the collective. So everybody in the society think all these negative, fearful thoughts, being afraid to lose their jobs, to lose the stability, to lose the relationship, to lose insurance, for example. What is this? It's this fear-based system that, paying money for something that never happened, something bad in the future, being afraid that it will happen. It's like, where does this come from? Why? So the whole system, if you look deep, it's fear-based. So when we live inside of it, even if we liberate ourselves and have consciousness and awareness that we are not that, we're not our fears, and we're bigger than that, we're constantly affected by that energy in everyday life. So it's very important to keep our work active and not to fall into this codependence on the system, and not to be profoundly affected by it. So sometimes fears kind of comes out of blue, and it doesn't come from the thoughts. For example, I had another day, I woke up and I felt just awful. I wanted to hide under the blanket and just not to wake up, and didn't want to deal with anything on that day. And I was like wondering, wow, I was falling asleep and thinking good thoughts, doing my evening rituals, my gratitude journal, my meditation. What happened to me? So somehow I tapped into this collective, fearful field, energetic field that kind of pulled me in, and I started to feel all this collective fear. Because when you like evolve to the place when you start to connect with collective a lot, and I've done so much work on that, you start to, you know, and maybe you're empath by nature, and many women are, so we feel the pain of other people, we feel the collective fear, the collective pain, the collective energy, and we pick up on it. It happens all the time. So we need some instruments and tools of how to release it right away and not to be a victim of that, right? So sometimes it doesn't come from thoughts. Sometimes it comes from this unconscious field and energetic fields that we live in this environment. You know, if you live in the city where it's like smog, you inhale it, right? The same thing, so it affects your health. So the same thing when you live in the society that fear-based, you're affected by this energy no matter what. So that's very important to remember. But if you keep practicing, you know, and doing your rituals and coming back to alignment with your truth, you can create this bubble of protection and stay away from it and create an alternative field. And this is what we want to do at the end. So also shadow work. This is what I call shadow work, is actually digging deeper into our fears and discovering the origins and then releasing them, becoming aware of them and releasing them and substituting them with our power, our true self, our own inner truth, and building up different belief systems, because most of our belief systems are fear-based, right? All limiting belief systems that we have are based on fears and come from outside world, education, upbringing, you know, social values, blah, blah, blah. All right, so let's move. Yeah, almost 45 minutes. I always want to do it less time and put it like in a more dense way, and I end up doing an hour thing anyway. So I'm very passionate about this topic. So let's talk about how to overcome these fears and these doubts, which is also fear, and what we can do. Well, beforehand, as I said, no matter whether you're thinking bad thoughts, which all these thoughts are very common, like everybody is thinking them and people then verbalizing them and living them, so we're picking up on that as well. So it's not just our thoughts, but it's kind of contaminated environment, so we pick up from other people as well, start to think these bad thoughts. So the first step to, you know, really being aware all the time of what you're thinking about. And if you're derailing towards some negative thoughts, fearful thoughts, bringing you back to positive thoughts, to your desires instead of your fears. Focusing, you can face your fears, acknowledge them and walk through them, but not being led by them, or being led by your fears. It means that you're trying to run away from that, right? So we don't want to run away from fears. We want to follow our desires, our heart's desires, right? And unfolding our power on the way. If we follow our desires, this is the path to unfold our true power and live our highest potential. So the second thing is to disconnect ourselves from the collective fearful field, energetic field. This is so important. Like if you do meditations, you know, once or twice a day, I like to do it in the morning at least for 5 minutes, and then in the evening at least for 5 minutes before you go to bed, to clean your energy and creating this, you know, white light around you of protection, and, you know, connecting yourself with the higher power, with the source energy, with the great mystery, with the God, whatever you call it, your higher self, and coming back to this alignment and remembering that you are not your fear, you are not your like that, you are not your relationship, you are so much more than that. And discovering that, this is the most powerful thing. In this particular point, I want to mention what I have just created. I just got this idea. So I call it creating your ultimate sanctuary. And this is will be the place where all your fears shrink and all your power grows. So it is creating this sanctuary for yourself where you can always return to and stay inside, and all your fears shrink and dissolve, and your power start to grow. So it's creating the sanctuary. And what do I mean by sanctuary? Well, the ultimate sanctuary that I believe is our own spirituality, our own ability to connect with the higher power, whatever you call it, higher self, God, universe, the great mystery, whatever it is, like the energy, the universe. If we find a way to connect with that place, then it can dissolve all the fears. And if it is powerful enough, we will not fall into fear. We do fall here and there, but if we do have this connection, if we nourish this sanctuary that we create within ourselves, this is a safe place to be. And this is the place where whatever happens in the world, this is the place for you where you feel safe. When you understand that you're not just this physical body, not just flesh and blood, but you're a spiritual being who is having human experience, and is so much bigger than that. So this is how I deal with that, and this profound connection with the universe and its mysteries. So that drives me, and it helps me to keep this sanctuary. Now, for many people, there are certain huge important values in their life which can become their sanctuary, right? And it is connected with our support system. The spiritual part and the ultimate sanctuary is connected with our spirituality, right? Is our connection, the energies, right? But there are some sanctuaries that you can create on a human level as well, which is connected with our basic needs. For example, which one is, they're all important, so I have had time to mention which one is first. Relationship. Why relationship is so important? Because it's like something almost inside ourselves, right? This is the intimacy, like I've heard this phrase, intimacy is our last sanctuary. So this is our deep desire and need for connection, for love, to be intimate with somebody, to discover each other on this level, right? So this is very important for many of us to have it in our life. And creating that sanctuary is meaning putting it as a priority and treating it as something sacred, right? And I do believe that true loving relationship is something like that you constantly feed, nourish, and put your energy into that, and like to grow it. Another thing that is important, like for me, for example, is to have the community, to belong, because my coex, my life pattern, whatever, here on this planet is that I always had this extreme feeling of non-belonging, like I couldn't fit in, I couldn't relate, and I was always like looking for something else. And when I found communities of people who are on the same wavelength and I energetically could connect with them, the same maybe mindset, this is when I felt at home. I felt like they can see me for who I am. And it happened like twice in my life in the bigger way. It was community of skydivers where I felt like this energetic connection. We didn't talk spiritual talks, but there was this feeling of belonging, of mutual support, and this love, and that we come from the same origin or something like that, like brotherhood and sisterhood. Then I also had it with people in the breathwork community where like I discovered, wow, they can see for who I am, without, they don't know anything about me, but they can see my soul. And this is one of the most powerful experience of connection with each other. This is amazing. So that's, for example, it's very important for me to have that community in my life. So if you look around, maybe you want to re-evaluate your social circles. If you don't feel that you belong, if you don't feel supported, if you don't feel you can share what you feel and think, be authentic, in certain social circles that you hang, you know, maybe it's a good idea to look for something else and discover something else, connect with new people of where your heart is calling, right? So this is the community sanctuary. Now, a life purpose sanctuary. This is huge. Some people are completely driven by life purpose, and that can overpower any kind of fear. You know, if you find your true life purpose and you become really passionate about it, and you start to believe that it's possible for you to live that life purpose and completely support yourself with that, and, you know, help people, be on service. This is so powerful. This is, it could give you meaning, you know. So many fears can dissolve because you have that life purpose calling, you know, the calling for adventure, calling for discovering, you know, your life purpose. So that's another life purpose sanctuary. Now, something that many people can judge, but at the same time we all connect with this, is this like financial security. And when we, you know, there's so many fears about money, you know, not having enough money, not paying bills on time, having debts, and we become slaves of this economic system. We become slaves of money. We become slaves of our own debts, you know. I have also lots of practice, powerful practice about that, and repeating yourself, having like mantras or meditations when you say, I am not my debt, I am not my money, I am not my job, I am not, you know, you are not that, you're so much bigger. And discovering your life purpose is connected with that as well, because once you live that, you understand that you're so much bigger than that. So that's also very important. Like for me, financial security is very important, because no matter, you know, I do have my spiritual sanctuary, but financial security helps me to put my feet on the ground and take care of my physical body, take care of my child and my family, and, you know, having home that I feel is stable, that it's always there. So it's very important as well to create that sanctuary and to believe that this is energy that you need to provide for yourself and have it. You have the right to have it. So, and for many people, the last thing I want to mention, for many people, it's like they really want to have a child and be parents, so parenthood. So it's another sanctuary that can be created, can really inspire us to walk through the fears, to walk through the doubts, you know, and emerge on the other side and give us power. So what I would suggest is to create an altar and create this sanctuary for yourself. Put some like sacred objects, maybe having candles and meditating in that corner in your house where you feel like you see your like human needs as sacred, because you have to take care of your body, you have to take care of yourself in the society. And also like on the top of that, have this roof of like the ultimate sanctuary where you can feel safe under the roof of your own beliefs, under the roof of your own faith. And whatever religion you belong to, it can work if your faith is pure and it comes from your heart and it's in alignment with your truth. And when you don't give in to anything smaller than that, you discover your life purpose. So creating this sanctuary for yourself and keeping your rituals active, like daily rituals, meditations, maybe emotional body release techniques, breathing. I teach certain breathwork techniques specifically to release fears, specifically because it's not just deep breath. There are a variety of different techniques that can faster bring you, pull you out of fear, pull you out of anxiety. So this is a huge topic. So it's another. So there are lots of body-oriented techniques, lots of mindset techniques, lots of emotional release work that we can do, inner child work, generational healing. So this all can have to be done in order to heal and transform and to be in our power and overcome all these fears and doubts, right? So that's basically what I wanted to cover today. So let me check time. Oh, okay, 1 hour. So this is what I wanted to cover, and I hope you enjoyed this. masterclass, and I hope you found it beneficial and you found it useful for yourself, insightful. Share your insights, share your questions, share your ideas and how you feel about yourself. Just step forward. Stop hiding out there, you know. We want to create a community we want to create this community sanctuary for ourselves, so we belong, so we feel safe, so we feel supported, so we feel seen for who we are and understood, right? So I'm here for you, and you can reach out anytime. We can talk privately, can support you through my program, so we can just talk and see how can I help you on your path. I do have like 3 months program for women on relationship, and we do all this work in this program, and we release enormous amount of fears, enormous amount of like anxiety and doubts and shame and guilt. There's so much like to clean before we can really discover our power. So I invite you to learn more about my work, or discover your own like practices, psycho-spiritual practices that can help you on a daily basis. And this is also I can help you with. You can always schedule a discovery call, and we can talk for an hour about what is your biggest challenge in your relationship, how you want to transform your relationship patterns when we feel caught in this toxic relationship patterns and we can't get out, and it's always like no exit situation. But there is an exit. It's more like stepping out of that box, of that fearful box where we live and think that this is all what we can have. But no, there's so much more is available. I know, and I see my clients are transforming, and see women are stepping in their power, and you know, there is so much is available, but you have to rise a little bit higher above your fears. You have to become bigger than your fears, so you can see beyond the horizon of what is available for you in this life and this relationship. All right, so thank you for being here with me. You can always watch it on replay, and I wish you a great day, and I will connect with you soon. Bye-bye.